Hi, everybody. My name is Savannah Sanchez. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys all about Snapchat ads and how to scale your revenue by capturing Gen Z. So there's my website, thesocialsavannah.com, and my email if you have any questions about Snapchat ads and want to reach out to me. So a bit of background about me before we dive in. So wanted to clear this up. I do not work for Snapchat, even though I am a huge fan of them and a big ambassador. I'm actually a freelancer, so I work with various e-commerce businesses to help them with their Snapchat ads, but also their Facebook ads, Google ads. My background is in paid acquisition. I used to work at an agency where we would help out e-commerce brands with their Facebook ads and Snapchat ads. And then just 6 months ago, I decided to leave that agency. I'm now working full time as a freelancer and working all my clients are Shopify merchants and working with them on their Snapchat ads, Facebook ads, but really excited about Snapchat in particular. I've been working with the Snapchat ad platform for the last 2 years, and the ad platform has come a long way since it first launched. Not only are the results I'm seeing a lot better, but they've come out with a lot of new improvements to help e-commerce advertisers. So really in the last 6 months, I've worked with about 10 different Snapchat clients, and I've seen some really great growth on the platform. So for some of my clients, we're seeing better results on Snapchat than we are on Facebook and Google. So there's huge opportunity here. I also really like Snapchat because it's incredibly intuitive to use. I'm going to be going through the whole Snapchat ads platform today, and you guys are going to see the UX is just so much more friendlier than Facebook, and it's much easier to not only manage ads, but I find to scale ads as well using the Snapchat ads platform. It's also just some of the clients I've worked with. I've worked in a lot of different industries on Snapchat ads. So from phone cases to cosmetics, apparel. It's been a pretty broad range of clients I've worked with on their ads. So a common misconception I hear from people is that, oh, Snapchat is only good if I'm marketing to teenagers. Definitely not true. A lot of my clients, their market is between 18 to 34, and we're still seeing great results on Snap. So as long as your target market is in that 18 to 34-year-old age group, there's definitely a chance that Snapchat can work for your brand. Also, before we dive into the meat of this, I want to mention this. I have a link because I'm a Snapchat ad ambassador for $1,000 of free ad credit. So the link to that is bit.ly/1000 Snapchat. Again, bit.ly/1000 Snapchat. So the deal for this is once you spend 1,000, you get 1,000 of free ad credit. So if you're interested in trying Snapchat ads after this webinar and you want to take advantage of this offer, definitely do it. But make sure you write down that link right now, bit.ly/1000 Snapchat, so that you can register. So it's for new advertisers only. So you have to create a new ad account. And then once you get to that landing page, you can either create your ad account right there, or you can request a call with a Snapchat account manager if you need step-by-step instructions of how to set up your first campaign. So take that offer. Alrighty, let's dive into the meat of it. So the Snapchat ad audience, like I mentioned, millennials and Gen Z, this is where they're spending a lot of their time on this platform. Not only are they spending time on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, but Snapchat still represents a large market share of where they're spending their time. So on average, 218 million daily active users. I read an article that over quarantine coronavirus, daily average use has actually gone significantly up in terms of number of average users and time on the platform. So people spending more time at home has definitely made them spend more time on Snapchat. And just some cool stats about Snapchat engagement. So the average Snapchat user spends 30 plus minutes a day on Snapchat, which I find a really powerful stat. Like not only people are using it to chat with their friends, send photos, look at discover platform content from publishers, they're highly engaged with the platform. And that the average user opens the camera 30 times per day on average. What's funny is a lot of my clients, they personally don't have Snapchat. Maybe my clients are in like their 30s or 40s or 50s, but I grew up with Snapchat even. I'm 24. I'm still on Snapchat every day, and definitely college kids and high schoolers are spending a large portion of their time on Snapchat. Would definitely recommend downloading it if you haven't had a chance to check it out lately. And then I think that this stat is also really interesting. So what this graph is talking about is how many people use Snapchat who do not use another platform in any given week. So what this is trying to say is that even if you're advertising on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even, you're going to find an audience on Snapchat that's completely unique, that only uses Snapchat but doesn't use these other platforms throughout the week. So I thought this was really interesting because especially brands, they spend a lot of money on Facebook ads, but they're actually missing a large portion of their target audience potentially by not also diversifying some spend onto Snapchat. Since there is a portion of users who only use Snapchat and not use YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So I thought this was incredibly interesting. And then also this stat about Snapchat being the world's most used camera. So Snapchat definitely isn't losing any steam. It's still, like I said, a highly engaged app. Their user base is growing and still the world's most used camera. So tons of opportunity on this platform. And then also, like I mentioned earlier, if your age group demographic is between 13 and 34, you're going to be able to reach 75% of the US population. So I thought this stat was really cool too. So you can reach 76 million users between 13 and 34 on Snapchat, but only 75 million on Facebook and 72 million on Instagram. And that's because there's a huge portion, especially in that 13 to like 24-year-old age group, that use Snapchat, but maybe aren't on Facebook or using Instagram. So incredibly high usage rate in like that younger demo. If you limit that demo, so not only to 13 to 34, but if we just wanted to look at 13 to 24, then Snapchat reaches 90% of the US population. So super crazy. So many people between 13 and 24 have Snapchat, up to 90%. Another common misconception I hear from people about like marketing to Gen Z is like, oh, like these teenagers are just looking at TikToks all day. They're not actually spending money. But I found that to not be true. I mean, the stat says that millennials and Gen Z combined have $1 trillion in direct spending power. To kind of give some context to this quote, so like I said, I'm a freelancer. I work with different e-commerce brands on their Snap ads. One of my clients, their target market is between like 13 and 22-year-old age group. That's where we're seeing the majority of the purchases. And since we started advertising on Snapchat, most of the purchases coming through are from like that 13 to 18-year-old age group, which at first surprised me. I didn't realize personally that so many high schoolers had access to debit cards or their parents' credit card, but I was really surprised that we're able to spend like 50 grand a month on Snapchat ads and get most of our purchases between 13 to 18 years old. The AOV for that product is around $15. So that's also something to keep in mind that I'm going to go through a bit later, is that Snapchatters I found have been pretty price sensitive with my clients. So typically products that are on the cheaper side, they're obviously like not like buying super expensive products like furniture or cars really. Like I would say for like my clients, my e-commerce clients, I found the most success with products that are under $100. Cheaper the better, offering discounts. So Gen Z seems to be pretty price sensitive on Snapchat, but they definitely do have buying power and it's worth investing there. So also I wanted to mention, I personally only work with e-commerce Shopify clients. So pretty much all my campaigns are revolved around website conversions, catalog sales. And I'm going to show you a bit more about that campaign setup. But also wanted to mention there's other goals that you can optimize for. So brand awareness, traffic installs, engagement, video views. If you're trying to drive traffic to an app, there's many different conversion objectives, just depending on your ultimate goal. But since we're talking about Shopify e-commerce, I would say the main thing we're going to be focused on is website conversion ads. So people actually swiping up, purchasing on your site, and catalog sales ads, which are dynamic product ads that connect with your shopping feed and will show people the products that they viewed on your website. So if you guys are doing Facebook ads, you'll know about a little bit about those dynamic product ads. It works in a similar way. Another thing I wanted to introduce you guys to, which I'm going to show you how to do it on Snapchat Ads Manager, is just the different ways you can create ads. So if you're brand new to Snapchat ads, you're just trying to give this a try for the first time, I would go through the instant create process. Once you make your new ad account using that $1,000 free credit link, what you're going to do is you're going to get the option to do instant create. And it makes it an incredibly intuitive way of creating your first ads. It'll pull assets from your website. I'll show you how to do this and let you pick your targeting, headline, etc. And you can launch your first ad in under 5 minutes. And I've seen ads like from doing ads through Instant Create do incredibly well. Just because the setup is super easy doesn't mean that you're missing out much on advanced targeting features. Like, you can create really effective ads just with this instant create. Just going back, advanced create, that's how I make most of my ads now. I'm going to show you guys this too. Advanced create is not that advanced. It's like a few more steps on top of instant create, but it's going to allow you to be more diverse in terms of your creatives, uploading videos, collection ads, tile ads. You're just going to get more options and more options for your targeting too. So you can have like exclusion setup, lookalikes. So, but don't be afraid of advanced create. When you make your new account, test out both. You'll see that advanced create is not that scary, but instant create will totally suffice as well for your first ad campaign. And then another thing I'm going to walk through today is Snapchat Publisher. So if you don't have a lot of assets to use, so maybe you're not already advertising on Instagram stories, so you can't just take those ads and put them on Snapchat yet. If you are heavily advertising on Instagram stories, you can definitely take those same assets and try them on Snapchat. But if you don't have that much content and you don't have a graphic designer to work with, I'm going to show you how to use Snap Publisher, which is essentially Snapchat's own like design studio, where they have hundreds of different templates for video ads. I've used these a lot for my clients. It allows you to put like call to actions on screen, different text, even cut some videos together. It's super simple, but you can create some really effective ads just using Snap Publisher if you don't have access to a designer. So this is really cool. I'm going to show you guys how to use this and then launch a campaign with your Snap Publisher ads. And then the other thing I'm going to talk today about is the Snapchat Pixel. So installing a Snapchat Pixel on your Shopify website could not be easier. It's actually going to be the first thing I show you guys once I stop sharing this deck. So incredibly easy process, and you'll be able to track things on your dashboard, such as purchases, add to carts, view content, swipe up, any metric that you want to track in terms of how people are engaging on your website once they swipe up from a Snapchat ad, you'll be able to do once you have the Snapchat Pixel installed. So we'll go through that today. And then before we dive into kind of the how-to, so I wanted to give a broad overview of some of my learnings from utilizing Snapchat ads over the last 2 years. So some of this may not make too much sense if you're not already using Snapchat ads yet, but I promise like once you get through the setup process, this is going to make a lot of sense. So I would say maybe just screenshot this page to refer back to once you start rolling on Snapchat ads. So my number one advice is to always use target cost bidding. So on Snapchat, you're going to have options to do automatic bidding, max bidding, and target cost. And so they're just 3 different bidding strategies that allow you to essentially bid for what you want to pay for that goal. So for instance, if I'm optimizing for swipe ups, I can say, Snapchat, I only want to spend up to 50 cents per swipe up. So you can set your target cost at 50 cents. Where automatic bidding, you don't set up a bid and you just let Snapchat spend your full daily budget. I wouldn't recommend automatic bidding. Max bidding, haven't seen much success with, but the third option is target cost bidding. And so once you start rolling with your Snapchat ads and you're able to optimize for purchases or add to carts, you can set that cost per add to cart that you want to achieve. So if my CPA goal is $10, cost per acquisition goal, I'll enter my target cost is $10. And then Snapchat's algorithm will help you bid in the auction against other advertisers in order to get that $10 CPA. So Target cost bidding, highly recommend. Another thing I wanted to talk about is audience selection. So on Snapchat, just like Facebook, you can create lookalike audiences. They have plenty of interest targeting that you can mess around with in terms of like people who have purchased at different stores, different demographics that they fall in, different interests. So all of that's available to you on Snapchat ads. However, for my clients, I've actually found that the best audiences are relatively broad. So what I mean by that is like if your product has some sort of mass appeal, like for instance, makeup, then I might want to leave my targeting at just like 16 to 34-year-old females, and that's it. So it's going to be like a 50 million person audience. However, I found that the Snapchat algorithm performs best if you don't layer in too many different interests or like confine the interest into too tight of a space. So I would say like as long as your product has mass appeal, then it makes sense to use a broader audience. Now, it's not going to work for everybody. Like for instance, I have a client that their target market is new moms. Like they sell something for toddlers. So of course, I'm going to have some interest targeting layered onto that. I'm telling Snapchat I only want to go after new moms because this product's not relevant to anyone who's not a new mom. So don't use broad targeting if there's obvious limitations with your product demographic. However, if you're selling like shirts or phone cases or whatever it is, you can probably get better results leaving it more broad. So I'll leave it at that. And then for number of ads per ad set, typically I like to test 3 to 5 at a time. There's no like golden rule of like what's the perfect amount of ads to test, but I found this a good sweet spot. And then in terms of audiences or different ad sets I have at a time, I would say I run about 5. So if I want to test like a couple different interests, maybe I want to do one audience that's towards remarketing website visitors. Maybe I have a past offer for existing customers. But overall, you want to keep the structure relatively simple to not convolute any data and to allow the algorithm to optimize to the best of its ability. The next point I want to go over, which is probably one of my more important points, is about optimizing for purchase. So as Shopify merchants, I'm assuming the end goal for everybody is to get purchases on the website. However, with the Snapchat Pixel, you do have to season it a bit before you get going. So what I mean by that is that once you have around 100 purchases that are recorded on the Snapchat Pixel, once you get the Snapchat Pixel installed, then Snapchat will allow you to optimize for purchase. But until you get that 100 purchases on the Pixel, more or less, then you can only optimize for swipe ups or a lower level event like page views, add to cart, and then eventually purchase once you get enough pixel data. So with that said, when you launch your first campaign, you're going to have to optimize for swipe up. Like I said, I like using target cost bidding. So typically I'll tell Snapchat, I only want to pay max $1 per swipe up or like $1 cost per click. And then Snapchat will optimize against that goal. So you kind of have to keep going back to the platform and keep checking whether you have add to carts unlocked or purchase conversion optimization unlocked. You're only going to get them unlocked once you have enough purchase events on your Pixel. I know that kind of sounds confusing. I promise it's not. I'm happy to answer any questions at the end about this. If you want to put them in the comments, I can definitely get to them. But just want to keep that in mind. When you first start out with Snapchat, you're going to have to optimize for swipe ups. You're not going to get the best quality of traffic. But once you season the Pixel a bit, you get the 100 purchases on the Pixel, then that's when you really start seeing results pick up. So I would say that's also something I've seen with a lot of Snapchat clients or people who have tried Snapchat ads and then after a couple weeks were like, no, this isn't for me, is that they didn't allow the algorithm to optimize for long enough because they were only optimizing for swipe ups and they never got to that phase where they can ultimately optimize for purchase. Then they weren't seeing the results they were seeing and they kind of gave up too early. So I would just say like keep your expectations low when you're optimizing for swipe up. You'll really start seeing ROAS improve and get to the CPA that you want once you could optimize for purchase. And then of course, I want to talk about some Snapchat ad creatives because this is probably the most important variable of success on Snapchat. So something that I've done for my clients, as you can see, I make a lot of user-generated content for my clients, but TikTok style works really well. So just having like filmed with your iPhone, put some simple text on top, running those type of ads work. And then like a testimonial type video. So this is one I ran on Instagram stories, but ads like this also do really well on Snapchat, where it's someone talking to the camera, talking their iPhone, showing the product in use, giving a testimonial. I would say just the main theme with Snapchat ads is just keeping it as organic as possible. Now, for some of my other clients, I'm not doing UGC. So an ad like this Peel one for the phone cases, this one is one we ran on Snapchat. So just keeping it super simple in terms of the motion. As you can see, most of these ads run less than 15 seconds, and we try to get to the point really quickly about what the product is. So keeping the product front and center. And then lastly, I have an example of just a value prop video. So this is one that's 15 seconds long, putting together different clips and then putting the value prop text above it. So these are just some simple ad types to follow. In terms of some like key takeaways from creative learnings that I've had from spending on Snapchat, the sweet spot for ad creatives I found is being between 6 and 10 seconds, which seems really short. Like it is really short. Like how do you tell your whole product story in 6 to 10 seconds? Well, you can't. You can't tell your whole product story. What you can do is show the product front and center within the first 3 seconds, put some text on top to make it really clear what you're selling, and then also have the swipe up CTA on the creative. So if you can physically write out the word swipe up or have like arrows on the creative, something that just signals to people what they're supposed to do on the ad, that's only going to help performance. So adding that CTA to swipe up is an important creative consideration. But like I said, UGC content, so user generated content, works really well on Snap. So if you have videos from your customers, or if you want to film some videos on your iPhone talking about your product, being excited about it, that's the type of content that works the best. With that said, if you do have a video of someone talking about your product, I would always have captions on your creatives for your videos. Not everyone's viewing their viewing Snapchats with sound on. So having captions on is really going to help. Get to the point quickly. Like I said, show your product in the first 3 seconds. Also, test different formats. So on Snapchat, you're going to be able to test videos, still images, but you can also do collection ad formats where the products appear below the video creative, and also these discover tile ads. So if you have Snapchat, you would know what the discover page is. You can buy a tile on the discover page and advertise there. So my point here is that like with all the clients I've worked on, there hasn't been necessarily one that's worked better than the other. In some accounts, stills work better than videos. Some accounts, videos work better than stills. Collection ads work better than videos. There hasn't really been that much of a trend in terms of like videos always work or stills never work. That's definitely not the case. So you're going to have to test for your individual account, the different ad types, and see what works best for you. Use native looking text overlays. So if you're using an Instagram story, if you're just writing text on the Instagram story, that's helpful. Just keeping it looking not like an ad is, I would say, the golden rule to go by. The more you can make it not look like an ad, the better. And then also, I mentioned this before about Snapchatters being price sensitive from my experience. So ads that feature a deal like swipe up for 30% off, we're having a blowout sale this weekend, things like that are going to really increase conversion rate and people swiping up on your ads. So featuring price, and especially if it's a price discount, is going to be really important for your Snapchat creatives. Alrighty, so that's it for my presentation, but now is when I'm going to walk through some of the setup process. So like I mentioned before, for the Snapchat Pixel, it could not be easier to set up on a Shopify store. How I like to access it to make it super easy If I type in Snapchat ads Shopify on Google, it's the first search result. It's the Snapchat ads official app. You add this app to your Shopify store, and then you're going to be navigated to this screen once you install it. Well, first steps, you're gonna create a new account with that Snapchat ad link I sent you earlier. So once you have your Snapchat ad account, you'll be able to really easily connect it here through the Shopify app. So as you can see, I'm signed in. You'll choose your business manager, making sure that's all set up. And then you simply click Connect Snapchat Pixel, and that will place the pixel on your Shopify store so that all the data is sent back to Snapchat Ads Manager. So like I said, it really couldn't be easier. And then what's also cool is that you also want to make sure your catalog is in sync. So like I mentioned, on Snapchat, you can do dynamic product ads. So you want to make sure that's set up so that you can take advantage of retargeting people who have visited things from your catalog. So you can also go here for the pixel only setup if you want to copy your pixel ID from your Snapchat Ads Manager. If for some reason that first way isn't working, all you do is you go to create Snapchat pixel. You'll get the code, and then you just copy and paste that back into the Snapchat Ads pixel only setup, and you'll be good to go. So pixel setup, incredibly easy. You can create ads through the Shopify integration. You can just make some really basic ads through here. If you do this, what's cool is that they actually give you a $100 ad credit once you spend $25 if you use the integration. So you might want to just make your first ad through this integration just to get the free $100 on top of the free $1,000 that you get once you spend $1,000. So Snapchat's just like throwing money at you to try it out, essentially. So that's one way to do it. But like I said, I'm going to walk you through the way that I like to build ads in my account. First, I'm going to go through the instant create setup. So I'm going to go to create ads. And like I showed you guys before, you'll have the option for either instant create, advanced create. I'm going to go here. I'm going to click my website goal, which for e-commerce is going to be website visits, and then simply enter your site. So I'm going to do it for one of my clients. They sell these beautiful necklaces from their Shopify store that are customized to their birth chart. So let's just say that this is the product page I want to send people to. It's beautiful. Great. I just simply copy that. I go back to Snapchat Ads Manager. And then I'm going to click this button to import photos from my website, which is really cool because I'll show you what happens. It makes it incredibly simple to create your first ad. So it's going to scan this web page right here for different photo assets for it to use for ads. Here we go. So while that's loading, I'm going to enter some details. So this is appearing in this part of the ad. And then I have the headline, design your birth chart necklace, which appears right below the brand name. Call to action, I always click shop now since that's ultimately what I want people to do. And like I said, it's really cool. You can pull in the different stills from your website. So this client in particular has really beautiful product photography. I personally think an ad just like this will do really well on Snapchat of just showing the product really clearly. Alternatively, if you have a photo or a video in mind, like I said, maybe you're testing some stuff on Instagram stories, you can also upload it here. You don't have to use the website stuff, but I really like this photo. They also give you some different templates. So if I wanted to add like a different caption or the price, I personally haven't used these templates. I like just using the full screen. I think this actually looks better than having the template with adding text. I think this is cool how it is. Alrighty, my ad is ready. So then I go next. And this is where I choose the different targeting. So Like I said, for Snapchat, I like to go pretty broad with my audiences. So I'm going to pick their target demographic is like 18 to 34. That's what I found. You can select your language, location. I'm going to leave it just the US. Here's where you set your daily budget. And then, like I mentioned before, when you first start out with a new Snapchat ad account, you're only going to be able to optimize for swipe up. It's only when you start getting some data on that pixel that you're going to be able to unlock these lower level purchase events like add to cart and ultimately purchase. Like if you hover over it, it's going to say you don't have enough pixel events to optimize for this goal yet. So optimize for swipe ups, but keep checking back. Keep checking back on your campaigns to see if these are unlocking. They're not going to give you a notification that it unlocks. You have to check back. And once you're able to optimize for purchase is when your results are really going to get a lot better. But how to start with swipe up. I mentioned before, I like using target cost bidding. So I'm going to set my initial target cost at 50 cents per swipe up. And they'll tell me how many swipe ups per day it thinks I'm going to get with a $50 budget. I'm willing to pay 50 cents per swipe up. So a tip on setting your target costs, if you're not spending your full daily budget, so let's just say I launch this campaign and it's only spending $2 a day, not the full 50. That can signal that your target cost is set too low. So maybe I'll come back and I'll raise my target cost to $1, $2, $3 until I'm able to spend through the full budget. Alternatively, let's say my starting swipe up bid is $2 and it's blowing through my full budget, but I'm not getting the results I want. That can signal that my target cost may be set too high. So I'm going to leave this at 50 cents. We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, they're going to want your business details and your credit card. So you got to put that in there too before you publish your ad. So that is Instant Create. Like I said, could not be easier to set up your first campaign. You can also click here if you want to do advanced targeting. Like if you wanted to do, like for this client, maybe I want to test out like jewelry shoppers. I know it's in here because I've targeted it before. Don't know why it's not popping up. Maybe it's somewhere else. I don't know why it's not popping up, but there's a ton of different lifestyle categories. You can also put in custom audiences. I'll show you guys in Advanced Create a bit more about the targeting. I don't know why it's not working on Instant Create, but you publish and there you go. Now your ad's live. And then your ads are all going to, when you go to manage ads, this is where all your campaigns are going to be. So if you are familiar with Facebook, you're familiar with the setup of campaigns is where you choose your overall objective. Your ad sets are your different audiences and where you set the daily budget. And the ads are the actual creatives. So like I mentioned before, Snapchat Publisher is another awesome tool if you don't have existing ad creatives, if you want to be a bit more technical than just doing a photo. So you can use one of their video templates. They have hundreds of different templates that are proven to be following like Snapchat ad best practices, which is pretty cool. So I'm just going to click on one of those right now. And you can see like how intuitive it is. Like it's just saying like, put your different product images, your logo, and then you can create your own video ad through this template. So I'm just going to practice just by replacing one of these images. So all of the images that you've used before are going to be saved to your library. You can also scan your website again. This one's cropping a bit weird. I think I have to recenter that one. But I would say just play around with this publisher tool because there's a lot of cool templates in here that make it easy to create ads. So that's Instant Create, that's Snap Publisher. I'm going to go through the steps of like if I had a new client, how I would go through Advanced Create of creating my own campaign. So this is kind of my process when I have a new Snapchat ad account. So just to show you where I'm at, I just clicked on Creative Library, and this is basically going to store all of the ads that you've made, which is cool because you can see them all in one place. I also like to make new ads in Creative Library and then go back and do the targeting instead of the campaign. It's kind of like work backwards from how you maybe would on Facebook. Facebook, you start building the campaign and then your audiences and your ads. I like to build up the creatives first, then I'll choose my campaign, and then I'll launch them in the audiences I want. So like I said, if I'm starting a brand new client, I'm going to go to Creative Library. I'm going to click on New Creative. And like I mentioned before, there's different Snapchat ad types. So single video image ads, story ads, these are ones that appear in the Discover feed. And then you also have collection ads where you can add different photos of your products underneath the video. So I'm just going to keep this super simple. You can name this whatever you want. This is what appears at the top of the ad. So once you're here, like I said, you can easily upload an existing creative. Like if you have one that you made that you want to repurpose for Snapchat, you can click on Create, which is going to send you back to the Snapchat publisher, the same tool I just showed you, where you can choose the templates. So that's an option for you. And then you can also browse. So if you already have uploaded videos or photos to Snapchat in the past, you can easily access them here. There we go. Attachment, this is going to be your website, and I always click the CTA Shop Now. And then you can put in your website URL, and then I click Publish. So when I click Publish here, this isn't publishing to any live campaigns. This is just publishing this inside my Creative Library. So here it is, add one. And if you need to go back and edit that creative, it's easy. Just click on it and go back and change anything you need to. So once I have that, my creatives all built out, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Create Campaign, and I'm going to go through the setup again for that. So here's your ad name. Here's all the same info I just filled out. Here's where you can choose your targeting. So if I want 13 to 24 females, okay, so this is, before jewelry wasn't working when I looked it up. It's working now in here. So if I want to look up like just jewelry shoppers, I can do here. So something really cool is that Snapchat has a partnership with Visa, so that it actually pulls in different, like, it pulls in purchasing data from Visa of like whether these people are buying, like jewelry store buyers, light buyers, heavy buyers, fine jewelry shoppers, Valentine's buyers, watch or jewelry. So you can get very detailed into the targeting. But I'm going to just click that one. So now I have 1324 females who like buying jewelry. I'm going to maybe open this up a bit more. That's better. I usually like audiences that are at least 1 million people, kind of like how I mentioned before, that sometimes Snapchat doesn't perform better. It performs best if you give it a broader audience. You can also exclude custom audiences. So if I want to exclude anyone who's been to my site before, then I can click this. So I want to exclude anyone who's seen a page on my website because I want brand new customers. That option's available for you. I'm going to launch this at $20 a day. That sounds good to me. Like I mentioned before, you're only going to have options for these higher level events like swipe ups, impressions. I would say always optimize for swipe up until you're able to optimize for add to cart and purchase. I'm going to click that. I'm going to set my target cost at 50 cents. And then I click create my ad. And this is when you know that everything is going okay, when you see the Snapchat ghost doing its thing. So that means that and you get success, your ad is under review. And it'll take like a couple, maybe 1 or 2 days to get that live. So there it is. There's my ad one campaign. You can rename this. You can rename these too. If I want to rename this like jewelry shoppers, that's going to probably be best. And then here's my ad creative in here. So you can add multiple ad creatives within the same ad set. That one's under review right now. And then you can also set up your columns. So if you want to measure how many purchases are coming in, you can set that purchase value, how many add to carts are coming in, cost per add to cart. Any metric that you can imagine is going to be on here that you would need to evaluate Snapchat ad performance. And then you just toggle your campaigns on and off. So I hope this tutorial showed that Snapchat ads is, first of all, incredibly easy to navigate. I would recommend just, even if you're not even planning to advertise right now, just make an account, play with adding in some new creatives, just get used to the platform. Once you know where to click, it becomes incredibly easy. And then, like I said, just keep testing. So testing different formats is going to help, and really narrowing down on what creatives work best. So yeah, please feel free to put any questions in the comments, and I hope this was helpful.